And yeah, I think everyone else has got their cameras off now, but I just turned mine off because my internet connection's a bit dodgy. So yeah, but Geraldine's reassured me she's going to text me if suddenly you can't hear me. So yeah, I'm really pleased to be here today. I'm really pleased that we've got this forum. There's so much going off in Leeds, and sometimes when I'm out and about nationally, I feel like, you know, it doesn't really, you know, get the attention that it deserves. And so I think just bringing people together and raising that profile is so valuable, and of course really important to celebrate, particularly at the moment when we've all been having a really tough time of it. So yeah, I'm Rachel, I'm the Chief Exec at Leeds Older People's Forum, and my colleague Ali is also on the call. We started working together around the arts and wellbeing work, and I'll actually be stepping back from Leeds Older People's Forum in July and joining Leeds Gate, but we're very much putting a plan in place to make sure we continue that commitment to arts and health and older people. And our chair is also the chair of the performance ensemble board, so you know we are very committed. So a very brief bit about who we are for those who don't know. So we're an umbrella organisation, and we have a membership of around 100 organisations, and they're all third sector organisations working with older people in Leeds. We aim to raise the voices of older people around decision making, and that can be anything from getting involved in consultations to supporting older people to campaigns. So we've been doing some really interesting and effective stuff around stigma and ageism for the first time, and we also provide that capacity support and information. Sorry, that's a bit jargony and dry, but you know, to older people's organisations to support them to do what they're doing. And you know, so yeah, I won't go any further on that, but I was just, you know, for this presentation, I was reflecting back on, because I've been with Leeds Older People's Forum from 2009, and reflecting back on where we were at with arts and older people when I joined the organisation, both in terms of LOPF and I think, you know, more broadly within the city. And of course, we've always had people doing brilliant work, and you know, heydays had probably already been going for a long time by then, so it certainly wasn't a cultural desert or anything. But you know, I think attitudes thankfully have started to change around arts and older people. So certainly, you know, as I was saying to Lily the other day, you know, that older people were seen as you know, their basic needs to be met, but you know, any further kind of joy and nourishment within their lives was not really needed and not really a right. And you know, why would you put your sort of time and effort into that? And in 2012 we ran an event with a care home where we co-created an event with the care home residents, and used the inspiration from the cocktails in care homes as a basis, and the residents built on that. And you know, we had a sort of pseudo tea party and cocktail party and arts activities within that, and it was wonderful. But it actually got, you know, publicly got backlash from people, almost as if we kind of overstepped the mark on our ambitions for older people. So I do very much see our cultural and arts as, you know, our work as being, you know, it's the right thing to do, but we're also, you know, campaigning and pushing and championing the, you know, older people's rights, and that, you know, that they should have a right to that access to that cultural and arts work. We also, like, we would do a lot around that time around like International Day of Older People, and have older performers and artists, but very much, you know, it felt kind of lodged in the kind of nice to have and celebratory, rather than really thought as something that we embed in how we think about health and well-being. And when we brought in the £6 million into the city for the Time to Shine programme at Leeds Older People's Forum, very much with partners and with Nikki at the time at the Playhouse, linking to other to cultural partners in the city. We did extensive consultation, brought that money in, and then built programs off the back of older people's voices. And actually the first piece of work that we commissioned was around culture and arts, and again there was a bit of a backlash to that, you know. Why weren't we putting all our money in older people's organisations that knew older people's needs, and why were we paying artists? And you know, and so we kind of had to weather that storm and go with it, and also return to the fact that we said, you know what, we've spoken to older people, we know this is right, and we know that the people that we work with, you know, have got a really valuable position to, you know, in many cases expand their offer. Some of the big cultural organisations in the city had young people's programmes, but not older people's programmes. So we were all on a bit of a journey together, really. And kind of fast forward, and that's, you know, how we met Lily and continue to work together and see our future in our partnership with the performance ensemble, and Lily working with us to, you know, to reach some of those more marginalised people, like people living in care homes, and to use arts as an approach to the different challenges that we face. So, you know, we know it has a valuable role, obviously, in isolation and loneliness, but we also know that, and Lily will come to talk about the boxes later on, but, you know, people are needing to rebuild connections and build their confidence to re-emerge into the world, and we know that arts can play a role in that, facilitated properly and done on a very personalised approach with older people. Our real aim with the Time to Shine work was to start to build that evidence base and profile around, you know, saying that arts had a real place in terms of supporting older people's health and well-being needs. And so, you know, we're in our kind of legacy year now with Time to Shine, and we'll make sure that that evidence is very much there and available to you for funding bids and other, you know, when you're meeting with stakeholders to make the case. And we continue to see Leeds Old People's Forum as being key in making that case, and even some of the seemingly simple stuff, like really championing with funders that, like, you know, don't just fund the arts through arts allocated funding, you know, be really open to this through your health funding. So so we'll continue to do that. So you know, we've got a lot of other great speakers on the bill, so I don't want to take up too much time, and as we said before, Geraldine's running a really tight ship. So I just wanted to finish with some of my observations about what we would need to do next in terms of bringing and integrating those two sides, you know, in terms of artists and people who work with older people that don't necessarily have that arts background. I think, you know, as Lily will probably touch on, taking that time to build relationships with older people's organisations, and is really recognising that there are some instances where, you know, cultures are quite different across 2 and sometimes 3 organisations, certainly if you're working with care homes. And it was, you know, I always remember in the early days of Time to Shine and talking, arts organisations talking about what the artist would get out of it, and we were totally taken aback, because we were like, well, we never talk about what we, you know, we would never talk about, like, oh, what we get out of our job and stuff, and that being valuable. And it was really a useful way of, like, looking at self-interest and a different way of looking at, you know, how we value our staff and utilize them and their passion for what they do. But, you know, in our bit of the world, we sort of have to give across this image of just being very selfless and not having any kind of self-interest in that. But I do think when it comes to funding, you know, it's a different story. You know, we have to very much present what it is going to do in terms of benefit for older people. I think there are particular policy areas that we can kind of tap into if we want to further the resources and relationships. So, you know, there's a lot more out there about ABCD and strengths-based approaches, and you know, utilizing people's skills and assets within the community. And there's a clear link there between arts and well-being, and really training and supporting older people to run their groups. I think tapping into other evidence bases. So, for example, we know that men, for example, will prefer activities that are shoulder to shoulder, and so we can use the arts in that way of, you know, people don't feel immediately confronted by sitting in a circle and, you know, having to look at each other while they talk about some of the really difficult challenges and transitions in their life, like bereavement, you know. So I think that there's different kind of hooks that we can find in terms of linking arts and health. The other thing I think, finally, to say in terms of health, they're always really interested in that evidence base. I'm always a bit hesitant, because I do think that with the arts you can tap into, you know, people in positions of power are interested in projects that are really exciting, and so I think I'd sometimes reserve judgment on whether that evidence base is kind of needed. If it's quite implicit, then really we should just really be pushing what we do and saying we know that this works because it's common sense that it works. But where an evidence base is needed, you know, using some of those tools like swim webs or scales or different things that can really map people's you know, the changes in people's well-being as a result of their involvement in the activity. And we will continue at Leeds Older People's Forum to continue to connect and really try and capacity build those non-arts organisations to value and build their arts-based skills. So yeah, that's me. Shall I hand back to you, Geraldine?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Rachel. And I think it's something we've discussed a lot in Leeds and beyond, is when people are experiencing bereavement, when they're experiencing cognitive changes, when they're experiencing physical changes, as we all do as we get older, I know I do, then do the measures that we traditionally use with wellbeing work as effectively with that kind of cohort of people. So lots to be said for thinking about new ways to do measurement, and that's something Lily has taught me a lot about through the work that she's been doing in Immature Company. So over to you, Lily.
Hello, thank you. Hello, everyone. So I'm Lily. I'm a freelance arts practitioner, project manager, and dementia care mapper, although I try and think about a like fun and small title to cover up the work that I do, and I just can't figure it out. So if anyone's got any suggestions after I've spoken, would love to hear them in the chat. So I work as a freelancer in the city and work with lots of different organisations, and I'm going to spend sort of the next 10 minutes kind of highlighting a bit of the work that I do in a couple of those organisations. So I'll start off with Leeds Older People's Forum. So I have kind of been brought on in a partnership role with the Performance Ensemble, and for people who don't know, the Performance Ensemble is an ensemble of older people who want to perform, create work, and just share their creativity. And obviously in partnership with Leeds Older People's Forum, I kind of sit between those two organisations, bringing together creativity and artwork and finding new opportunities to create different work in the city, quite community focused and very outreach focused as well. So one of the things that I'm working on at the moment is these things, I'm calling them immersive boxes, because I've got a real interest in working in immersive spaces and about kind of creating work that feels all encompassing and that you're really in it, and that it's not just a really small intervention that then leaves. It's about kind of developing work that goes over a longer period of time. And hopefully Rachel might have one of our boxes. I've taken over Leeds Older People's Forum office recently with 55 boxes that have all been designed bespoke for 55 older people in the community. We're working in partnership with Richmond Hill Elderly Action and the Hope Project. And we've worked closely with them to identify 55 individuals who might benefit from receiving these immersive boxes. They're not complete yet, but Rachel is beautifully identifying the boxes. So they all have a personalised sort of letter on the front, which sort of welcomes into something called The Garden. And the performance ensemble is doing a show called The Garden at the Playhouse in August. So these kind of connect that. Every box has got things like a plant pot in there with seeds to plant, with a little note telling them how to do that. That's been wrapped in cellophane, all hand done by myself, which took forever. There's a big and a small one. There's paints in there so people can paint the plant pot. Yes, there's the paint, lovely. There's a bag of sweets, which I think is the traditional sweets. So we've got rhubarb and custards. We've got pens in there. Then there's also a recipe for Yorkshire parking, because we know people love to bake. Some of the people who've expressed an interest in baking, we're putting in actual the things that they need, so the flour, the golden syrup, and there's images on how to do that, all in large print. There's a quiz in there that's been written by one of the people that's receiving the boxes. So he's written a quiz about Leeds, and there's the answers on there, and we're going to do phone calls with people and get them to answer the questions and learn a bit more about that. There's also envelopes, which there's an envelope for every day of the week. So it runs from Friday through to Sunday. And in every envelope that's my little note saying what the envelopes are. In the envelopes, there is a different activity that can be done with a family member or on their own. And the activities go from talking about what a family tree might look like, or thinking about telling a story to someone they don't know, to creating some flowers. And then also we're going to put, I don't think it's in this box, but disposable cameras in there to get people to take photos of their environments, and then we'll get the photos printed, and there might be a mini exhibition if we can. So there's so much in there, and there's so much kind of going on, and each box has different things depending on what people have expressed an interest in. So some people have said they really like music, so we've managed to get some melodicas in there because people like to play keyboards. So everything's a bit different, and each box is designed to represent what it feels like to attend creative activity. So it's not just about receiving a box and that's it, but it's about, if you used to attend a group or you used to do things that you enjoyed pre-pandemic, that this box sort of replicates what that might feel like. There's lots of moments of interaction and engagement, and the neighbourhood networks are doing amazing jobs of reaching out to the people that receive boxes and building connection and relationships, and that actually everyone who receives a box can connect with each other through their box, and saying, well, I got this, or I did this, or we've got on Tuesday, I've got this activity, shall we do it together, or can we share our results together? So that work is very much about reconnecting people, and also trying to bring that quality of art space back to the home, and that it's not about the fact that you can't leave the house means you can't do something creative, and that you absolutely can, and that your interests can also benefit how you engage with creativity, and that it doesn't feel completely wild and nothing that you care about or interested in. So that work is ongoing. We've received funding to do 25 more with Crossgates, so there'll be around 75 of those boxes going out, all personalised, all bespoke. And then I'm just going to give you a warning, someone is washing my windows right as we speak, and I knew this would happen. So that's great. So yeah, that sort of work is happening, and that work feels really beneficial at the moment, especially when there's no kind of group activity happening, and it's particularly focused for those who don't have access to online or digital work. And I've been told I've got 1 minute, and I had 3 pages of notes, and I haven't even covered any of it. I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the work that I do just at Yorkshire Dance, and I guess the Fragments work. That's very much care home based, and there's so much learning that can be done in care homes. But I think some of the key things I wanted to share is about how artists and staff can learn from each other, and that artists based in care homes is so beneficial, but that they don't come in with a knowledge that they have something to teach, but that they have something to share, and that care staff can also share that relationship, that learning with artists too, and that it's mutually beneficial. That co-creation is always amazing, and that people living in care have creative ideas, have things to share, and that if we can use their ideas to co-create projects, to help deliver projects, they're always going to be better and more enriching. And I just wanted to quickly share, because I'm running out of time and I'm very sorry that I've just spoke and not kept an eye on times, but I just wanted to quickly share a project that I worked on called Fragments, and I'm just going to quickly share some images. Oh, not that, that's my emails. Where are we? 1 second, sorry. Where is it? Here it is. Oh, it's not doing what I wanted to do. Never mind. I will stop sharing. I was going to share some images of a project called Fragments, which was about creating immersive spaces in care homes. It was co-created with the residents, so they told us what they like to do, what they missed going to see, and we built a 360 immersive space, which was it was a garden or a park that we took over the cinema room. We took everything out. We put grass down, live plants, festoons. There was a 24-hour soundscape from morning till evening, and there was the sun beaming in the corner, and we built a full program of activities. We had storytellers, live performances, dance, and then we had arts and crafts-based activities, and that was very much about getting to understand what the residents want and need, and then also just kind of having a space that feels that's safe, creative, fun, and that can be enjoyed at any time of the day. So it's open 24 hours. So it's not just a one activity a day, it's a full experience for 24 hours over a week. I will stop talking, but I've got some podcasts to share that where we talk about that work and the Yorkshire Dance work in care homes. And if you want to know any more about the Leeds Older People's Forum work, I'll pop my email in chat. But yes, I will stop talking. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lily. I feel like we could just have a whole episode just listening to you tell us what you've been doing in the last few weeks. Alison, if you could tell us a bit more about the national context of arts in care homes, and yeah, take it away.
Okay, lovely. Thanks, Geraldine. Lovely to be here, and great hearing all your stuff, Lily. I was nodding away. A lot of that rang very true to me, and I think I'm going to try hard to keep to my notes, because I know if I go on to anecdotes, and I love all this rich, lovely stuff from projects, I'll go on all day, and I may be interrupted by my teenage son at some point stumbling in to look for breakfast, so apologies if I am. I'm the programme director for NAPA Arts in Care Homes. My background is I work for a London-based housing trust for over 20 years, managing a programme of arts activities in care homes, sheltered housing, and supported mental health schemes. I stumbled into it. I had no interest really in working with older people. Saw an ad in a job centre saying arts and education coordinator wanted, and thought that sounds interesting, and started doing work in a care home and absolutely loved it. Learnt so much, so went from there. So my current role for NAPA is a membership organisation and charity that they provide resources and support for staff, including a free helpline and training. We just had our annual conference yesterday, which was very exciting, and they really focus on engagement and meaningful activity. My role is to manage the Arts in Care Homes project, so that is a NAPA project. We're in our third year now. The National Day of Arts in Care Homes is an annual event, takes place every year on the 24th of September. And, you know, we're gaining momentum each year. It's exciting seeing people take part and the build up. To get involved, we invite care homes to plan an event. It can be something big or small, any art form, for the 24th of September. And this year we're really pushing the message of the kind of process. So it's the imagine bit. I saw a lovely quote on Twitter the other day about how imagination doesn't fail. You know, it's still there, and that magic that comes from the imagination. And then the create part of it and the sharing. And we're inviting care settings and partners to share events on the day, but also in the week running up to the 24th of September, please share good practice stories. It's a really good opportunity to share some of the wonderful stuff that you're all doing. I'll put some details in the chat at the end of the links to how you find it. It was wonderful last year to see the stuff from Leeds. Thanks so much to Geraldine for really supporting it. And it was really noticed, all those little stories popping up, you know, quite a few people commented. So please get involved, share your stories. It's a national event, you know, we don't want it all to be about down south. We want to get those stories. We've got Manchester and Liverpool are really excited this year and are going to be sharing stuff. So please get the voice of all your Leeds partners and make sure you're heard. You know, I love the work of Leeds Playhouse and Yorkshire Dance, so it's really nice to be here with you. I've been following you kind of through social media and stuff. The other piece of work that we're working on this year is a consultation on creativity and culture. NAPA have been asked to lead on this by our funders, the Bearing Foundation. It's a very small piece of work. It's not a big budget, it's not a big time scale, but we think it's really an important one, and there's been a lot of interest. So what we're focusing on is the question, what would it require for all care homes in England to offer their residents access to relevant creative and cultural opportunities on a daily basis? So it's about this daily offer, this daily person-centered offer. Obviously, as part of that, you know, we have to look at how people react to the words arts and culture, and how to find relevant things and make the arts and culture and creativity inclusive and accessible. So we have on our website, we've got some online surveys for staff, residents and relatives. We're doing some best practice case studies, and I'm thinking maybe we ought to have a Leeds one. I shall talk to Geraldine about that, how we can, I can't ask all of you individually to submit stuff, but maybe you could do some kind of group one for Leeds would be fantastic. Again, all the info's on our website, which I'll share with you. And I think really, in terms of that daily offer, we're kind of stressing it's really moving away from talking about activity, and it's looking at how can we really embed the arts and creativity and culture into care provision. It's this creative approach. It's sometimes these very small but meaningful interactions which actually elevate the day, or how you can bring creativity into daily tasks. I mean, the one I always say, but I used to love, was seeing staff use dance to encourage people into the dining room. It's just so lovely, a nice way of moving into another space in a really fun way. And we're thinking about, you know, how can we allow for spontaneity and play? They're so important. And I think with that, it's the type of resources that mean that staff don't have to plan things. They've got it there. They can be playful and discover things together. Training, the staff structure is absolutely key, and that kind of culture shift, it's a massive subject. I can't you know, go into that here, but I think you possibly will know what I mean by that. But the whole home approach, which a lot of care providers are working towards, where everyone has a vested a role in that engagement. And lastly, really, partnerships. For me, all of the learning I got in my previous job was from staff, residents, relatives, but also artists and arts organisations, museums, archives. I think they have an absolutely key role to play in all of this. Care homes can't do it on their own and don't need to. And we've seen over COVID this amazing sharing of all this digital stuff, sometimes a bit too much, a bit too overwhelming. I think there's been so many amazing events, but there is stuff out there. And as NAPA saw yesterday at our conference, care homes really are getting on board with the digital stuff. Their Wi-Fi is, you know, at the beginning of all this, there was a big difference in terms of access to digital stuff. But we really think that's got a big role to play. So I'm looking at the time. I think I'm getting in just under 1 minute. So I'm quite pleased with myself because I'm a bit of a rambler. So I'm going to share my stuff in the chat. I do hope, please get in touch with me if you want to talk about anything else. But just to end with, lovely to be here and to be with all of you doing such lovely stuff. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Alison, and particularly as we ran over a little bit. So thank you for curtailing yourself even. So Ali from Leeds Older People's Forum is going to set up some breakout rooms, and this is going to be a very quick breakout, but it's just a couple of minutes each to share our reflections and to say hello to each other. And then we'll come back to catch up on some of the work that's been going on in the care delivery services in Leeds, at Leeds Playhouse, and with our special guest Manuka, who has come even further than Alison, all the way from India today. So one of the many benefits of being able to do some online events is being able to hear from people that we wouldn't usually hear from. And we have that in the chat with Rachel coming all the way from Essex today to hear about good practice locally. So thank you so much, and take it away, Ali. Let's have those breakout rooms.
Yeah. We were in a really interesting conversation, so I was like, oh, what happened?
You'll have to share emails and keep it going. Don't stop now.
It definitely wasn't long enough, I can say.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I think that's the point of the breakout rooms, is just to give people a taster of what they could be doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's not finish these conversations today. So Maggie and Manuka, I had asked you to tell us a bit about the Reasons to Be Hopeful project that we introduced last time we had a forum, and has now amazingly concluded in that brief few weeks. So yeah, take it away.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Geraldine. So I'm Machteld, and I'm the Older People's Programme Manager at Leeds Playhouse. And Manuka is here with me, who is one of the artists who worked on Reasons to Be Hopeful. I'm going to be the first person to do tech today, is that right? So I feel like there's a bit of pressure on this, but let's give it a go. So I hope you can all see this. So last time we spoke, I think we just started the workshops of Reasons to Be Hopeful, which was 100 people from multiple generations, so younger people and older people, took part in 10 weekly workshops with 10 different artists. So it could be on Zoom, it could be letter writing, it could be via email, via the phone, a lot via Zoom. And people took part in those workshops, and it resulted in a multimedia tapestry, which you can now see at the front of the Playhouse. So if you walk past the Playhouse, you might see all of the artwork from far away, but you can see lots of detail close up as well. So do pop in and have a look at the result of the work. But mainly what we wanted to talk about today was one of the results that's come out of the project is a song that was written by the group that Manuka led, with the Reasons to Be Hopeful participants, the Hamari Hadain Dementia Cafe, which is led by the BME Dementia Service from Touchstone. And yeah, we had I think I'm not exaggerating, Manuka, if I say it was a little bit bonkers. Because we sometimes had 4 languages going on at the same time, and obviously you being in India, it was all it felt a bit crazy, but in a really good creative way. So yeah, I'd love, Manuka, if you want to talk a little bit about just tell us a little bit about the song, and then we'll listen to the song, which hopefully will be yeah, great.
Okay, yeah, sure. Hi everybody. This song in particular was obviously based on the themes around Reasons to Be Hopeful. The intention of this project was using whichever artistic medium to bring out what we've overcome during the pandemic time. So being a songwriter, that was my strength in how I could help the group to communicate. And what was really interesting is that we had a really good mix of individuals, people from different backgrounds, different age groups as well. We had younger people, coming from the Reasons to Be Hopeful, and then we also had the Hamari Yade group as well. And it was I would say it was a bit bonkers, and it was a bit chaotic with sometimes, because I'd be speaking different languages. I'd be explaining in English, then in Punjabi and Hindi, and then the same thing. So it was a very fluid process, in the sense that there was no kind of linear control or system put into place to make the song come about. So it clearly just came about because of the relationship that we developed as a group, and the energy that everyone kind of brought forward. And just using exercises, I just put out there different ways to trigger creativity and remove those barriers of, you know, insecurity of thinking that you can do this or you can't do this. And that's one of those things. So once we overcame that, everyone just was blossoming with so many ideas, and in the English part was complementary to the Punjabi part, and everyone was collaborative, and then they were conversing in each other's languages. People were interested in one another, and they generally were sharing, and it became more, rather than me facilitating, I just became part of the group, and it was a very organic kind of a flow towards till the end of the session. And the song really portrays that, because the song was about, initially when I was asking people, we were having conversations about, you know, what do you feel hopeful for? And we're having these conversations, and they said, honestly speaking, we're not hopeful. We're not feeling very good about it. But then after delving into these conversations, and we spent a good couple of weeks on this, actually more time on understanding and getting out the deeper meaning behind how everyone was feeling. And then they talked about embracing the little moments in their life, and they were remembering things. So actually I saw a robin in my greenhouse that was really beautiful. Or they were picking out lots of imagery, which was really nice. And then lessons learned also came out as well. So that became the theme of the song. And it was really, really nice. So I don't want to say too much. The song will speak for itself. So yeah, if you want to see it.
Thank you so much. So now I'm going to be really high tech, and I'm going to share the lyrics. You can also see the lyrics on the Playhouse with a QR code at the bottom as well. So if you do walk past, you can scan it and it will take you to the link. I'm now going to try and play the song whilst you still see the lyrics. So let's see how that goes.
Living under my world, not ready to come back out again, hiding from the world. What would I have if I peek from under it? Let the light in, let the light shine through. Like the sky, these times it's okay not to know why, but the good just trying to come. A wonderful world that's full of hope. At last we live on, just trying to go. Just trying to go. Just trying to go.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope that kind of what Manuka said made sense in this kind of the context of like it's really hard to explain what this song kind of did, and it's all been recorded over Zoom, and even the guitar, like the guitar solo at the end, that's like a participant, one of the younger participants who like send that in. Every element of it is kind of participant led, which is very much credit to Manuka and the participants who have done such an amazing job. And yeah, I would really, I just want to say a big thank you to Manuka, because I think it's a really special thing that she's created with the group, and having this on the front of the Playhouse. I still can't quite believe they let us put like stuff on the windows of their new building, but they did, so it's very exciting. So thank you so much, Manuka. I'll share the link in the chat. We would really would really appreciate if you could share it wide and beyond, so these voices get heard and this song gets heard. I don't know if you want to say anything more, Manuka, before we carry on.
No, they're just that, you know, even despite it being such a great project in itself, I had no idea what to expect coming into it, and I didn't want to leave, and I felt so attached to the group and what we'd created, and their growth as a group and individually was truly magical. And it just goes to show how the arts can really have an impact on people's well-being, their capacity to provide something valuable to the community and have a voice and express themselves. And it's just a really nice medium to have access to. So, you know, this project gave the community that, and so everything that the arts do is awesome. So yeah.
Thank you, Manuka. Thank you so much for coming and joining us today. So I believe I have a few more minutes to just talk about something a little bit different, which is The Promise of a Garden, which is a production by the Performance Ensemble in the, is co-produced by Leeds Playhouse, Leeds 2023, Leeds Older People's Forum, and the Performance Ensemble. Yes, I got them all right. And it is a production that is created by older artists and older people from the community. And it is, I think they describe it as art that's been created with the experience of age. So the Performance Ensemble is created this amazing piece of work and is turning the Quarry Theatre, which is the largest space in the Playhouse, into a beautiful garden. As part of this, because originally I think the idea was that the community could contribute to the garden, could come into the quarry space and add stuff to the garden. Obviously, COVID is not playing ball just yet, so we had to unfortunately let go of that idea. So so now we have a project called 5,000 Flowers, where we are asking people, the Performance Ensemble is asking people across the city to help contribute to the set of The Promise of a Garden. by making flowers. We are looking for 5,000 flowers, and communities across Leeds and older people and younger people are creating these flowers. I will put a link in the chat of how you can get involved in 5,000 flowers. If you know anybody who would like to make flowers, please do. There's some really wonderful stories coming out of the flowers being made, people that are really reusing materials to do. So yes, really fantastic, the 5,000 flower projects, and we would love for you to get involved in some way, or anybody that you know would get involved. So I'll share the link in the chat, and yeah, there's more information on when the garden is on the Leeds Playhouse's website. So yeah, I'll do that, because I think then we have to move on.
Yeah, so thank you so much. I think, again, we could talk about all the projects around that and who's involved for a long time, but just wanted Catherine Smethurst from the care delivery team just to talk a little bit about some of the work that she's been doing with arts organisations as part of Wellbeing Wednesdays, and let us know if she's got some capacity to have anybody else join her. So take it away, Catherine.
Hello, so my name is Catherine Smethurst. I work for Leeds City Council Care Delivery Service, which includes 5 of our care homes, 3 extra care schemes, and 3 recovery hubs for older people, as well as the mental health accommodation services, shared life support, day opportunities, and that includes the complex needs services, older people services, as well as mental health day opportunities. So I work with the operational development team. Hilariously, in our little break-off session, I met up with Elizabeth, who's there as Care Delivery Digital, who works with me. And we were just talking about, I'm going to throw away my notes because I've got about 2 minutes left. But what we wanted to talk about is the Wellbeing Wednesday sessions that we've been running. So back in the autumn, we realised that we needed to sort of develop our digital offer, originally with day opportunities, because people were isolated at home, very stressed, lonely, and then we gradually realised that we had to sort of develop that across the service, because there were people in care homes that had been very isolated as well. And so we started approaching different arts organisations. Initially I got in touch with Geraldine, and then we got in touch with lots of other people. So it's lovely to see all the people here that we've already been in touch with, that we're working alongside, we have worked alongside, and that we're hoping to do some more with. One of the things I would say is that just getting people together online to do these different wellbeing activities, we realised that the activities that people most responded to under this umbrella of Wellbeing Wednesday, we did an online session for 1 hour a week on Zoom, and we've involved people like Yorkshire Dance, ArtLink, Live Music Now, Ascendance, Leeds Libraries, Museums, any number of organisations. You're all here, and we're wanting to just make those partnerships. So the when we were talking earlier about the partnerships, we found that's the absolute key thing, to kind of find those networks, find those partnerships, and then link that up in a strength-based way, where we're saying, oh, this person particularly loves something, let's see what's about for them. So just lovely to hear about the Playhouse project. One of our residents in the care home said, I really want to do that. We linked her into it. She's absolutely loved it. And because of that, we looked at it for somebody else who wanted to do some creative writing in one of the day opportunities. We then kind of looked a bit further and saw, the promise of a garden. And so we're kind of making all those connections, and people are being able to say hello to new people. That's what we find, is that people who are lonely are now kind of meeting each other, getting in touch. That alone has kind of boosted morale. But then being able to look at the things that they love doing, and it's not just about one activity, it's about sort of creating opportunities for those individuals or for new groups. We've got a regular Yorkshire Dance session that's now got, I think Elizabeth was saying, about 40 people kind of logging in from all different places. And then we've got something else that came up, was a lady who wanted to do some knitting, and so they've set up their own knit and natter group, and we've now sort of linked a few more people into that. Of course, they're interested in making some flowers, and that develops that whole project. We've got an event coming on tomorrow as part of the Great Get Together, and we've done it live. Previously, we're doing it as a Zoom event. We'd love it if you wanted to join us. If you email me, I'll need to add my email in, and please come along and join us. We'll be creating some more opportunities through that. We've got some lovely work with together with music that's linking up the care homes and the schools. We're looking at kind of showcasing some of the performers who we know are great performers that use our services. So we had a little concert live with them, and that's kind of linking them into being able to do their performance as things open up, or even to be able to progress you know, their connections and their learning and their opportunities online. So we've got gardening, we've got baking, we've got all these opportunities, but we found that really it's what people have said is they've got something to look forward to, and that's and we make all these activities and opportunities as accessible as possible. So sometimes, you know, certain activities might not be suitable for particular individuals or groups, so then we look at, well, how can we make them more suitable, or what can we look out for those people? And so that's kind of where we're going with the Wellbeing Wednesday, and we're going to continue it as an ongoing opportunity, both for the people that use our services and the staff teams, because it enhances their kind of knowledge. And again, that touches on what you were talking about earlier, about sort of providing opportunities for people, making things easy, and sort of, you know, making introductions between different partners, so that people can start to do the things that they love doing. So
thank you so much, Catherine. So it's slightly over time. Really sorry for running over slightly, but the important thing is that everything is all tied together, which is always seems to happen in these meetings. Is absolutely wonderful. Lots of running themes around partnership, around the power of creativity, and the importance of range. So getting people different perspectives together to work differently, solve problems, and to promote well-being across the board. So if anybody has any contact details they'd like to share in the chat, or otherwise, I'll be sorting out a recording to share. I'll be putting out a newsletter with everything that we've discussed, so all the links and everything are in clickable form. And yeah, we'll be hopefully doing another session in September with Yorkshire Dance and Leeds Playhouse, looking at older people in the driving seat. So older people as the creators of creativity, their creative powers, and possibly linking in with work in Sheffield and Manchester. So again, getting out of Leeds a little bit, but showing off what we do locally. So I do hope you can join us. We'll be circulating on Twitter and in our newsletter, and we welcome anybody who'd like to speak or be involved in the planning of these sessions. The more the merrier. So thank you for joining us, everyone, and take care and see you soon.